Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the official Level 2 podcast, episode 25, I believe.
I think you're right.
We're the Level 2 Gamers. My name's Keegan, hanging out with the other half. Tom, how you doing today, Tom?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm having my day off. I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to playing a ton of games today.
Dude, we got a big day today.
yeah.
It's not really a day off. I mean, it's a day off from our normal job.
I mean, you can't really complain too heavily about playing video games
And
for
talking
large
to a
sums
camera.
of time, but it definitely takes its toll.
So,
Yeah.
hopefully they're having a good day as well.
I hope so. I hope
so.
you're having a wonderful day wherever you might be in the world.
If you're listening to us on iTunes and or Google Play and or Stitcher, it's fixed. We fixed that. You want to
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
'Cause
So
we had an issue with that.
yeah, we posted something out to the r/PSVR forum showing off one of our newer videos because we had included a big sort of chart that they came up with in their forum, and we thought they might like to see it. So we did that, and then we had 1 million requests for the podcast. And then I linked the podcast.
And it was broken.
It would
Macedonia.
It would ask you to go to Macedonia store or something to download it.
Which that is a country for those of you who do not
Yeah,
know.
I don't know what the hell was going on with that. And basically, it took a lot of work, a lot of like loading the RSS feed through various things to tell me what was wrong and changing them. And eventually, we got to the point where I found out that it was just that on SoundCloud,
Which is where we host it.
Which is where we host it. It says Level 2 Podcast like one word. And on iTunes, it was listed as Level Space 2 Space Podcast. And for whatever reason, it hated that. So I just changed it on SoundCloud to match the iTunes one, and
It worked. It's now live. Now updates.
Now
So
live-o.
You can go subscribe to it. Search Level 2 Podcast in iTunes, Google Play,
It'll
and
actually show up.
You'll see it, and it'll be there. So let's hop into the news here, Tom. It's a very, very light week.
Yeah.
Very light week.
It's pre-E3.
It's E3's about a month and a week out, 5 weeks, if I can math.
Anything that's showing up now is linking
To something that's being announced at E3.
yeah,
usually.
either that or it's like an actual this wasn't supposed to happen situation.
Yeah, like Darksiders
like
that got leaked.
Darksiders 3. Yeah.
Fun fact about that story last week, Alana Pierce, who works for IGN, was supposed to have the first, and when she tweeted out, like, here's my coverage, she goes, I was supposed to be the first one to break this to everybody, but I guess somebody ruined it. She goes,
There you
but it's a
go.
good game.
See? More ruining people's moments.
Yeah.
Poor
So, first things first. Ghost Games shares new details for 2017's Need for Speed. You probably don't play Need for Speed.
I sure don't.
The last game sucked. Let me read this, and
I did see the movie.
We'll discuss.
I did see the movie.
I didn't even know there was a movie.
There's a movie. It
Probably
stars Aaron
sucked, too.
Paul from Breaking Bad.
I don't know who that is because I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Okay, you're the worst.
So let's. I'll read this and we'll discuss it a little bit. Electronic Arts will release a new entry in the Need for Speed franchise later this year, and developer Ghost Games has shared a few details on what fans can expect from the next installment. By the way, this is from IGN. According to the post on the official Need for Speed blog, Ghost is building on the foundation laid by 2015 reboot and taking into account fan feedback, including complaints regarding the previous installment's always online requirement. As such, the new Need for Speed game will only allow players to enjoy the single-player experience entirely offline and freely to pause the action.
Well, that's good.
Ghost also confirmed that customization will be back and play as strong a role as ever. The cop chases will most definitely will be part of the fun. Plus, those looking for freedom to ride around the world as they so please will be able to do just that, as this new entry will provide you the space in which you want to do things you want. That sounds like a sentence I would say.
That's great English.
Yeah. You, the space in which you want to do things you want. The new Need for Speed game was announced last year for release in 2017. A few months ago, Electronic Arts reaffirmed the title will launch before the end of the company's 2018 fiscal year, and according to EA CEO Andrew Wilson, Ghost's upcoming racing title is pushing the boundaries for action driving. Ghost plans to share more details of the series next installment very, very soon. I'm going to guess E3. With new details about the game coming on EA Play next month.
Oh.
So there you go. It's coming out of EA Play because EA doesn't do E3.
A couple things to say about that.
Good on them.
I don't dislike Need for Speed. Here's the thing. I don't like it. Like, I won't.
So when you think of Need for Speed, what do you think of? I'm going to start with that question. Like when
a
you
less
think
good version of Burnout.
But what makes it? But what makes a Need for Speed game?
I mean, if you're thinking about Need for Speed, the only sort of ones that I played through heavily were the cop chases were a big part of it. A few stunty things along the way to try and escape said cops, and
Do you remember which game that was?
graphics.
Graphics.
Most Wanted or something.
Do you know what's console? Because there's two Most Wanted technically.
PS2, I want to say.
Okay, so it was it was potentially the good one.
Okay.
There's two of them. One's good,
I
one's
liked
not so
it,
good.
so it was a good one to me.
Yeah, but there's one that's like I put hours into it, and it was known as like the good and Most Wanted. Then years later, they released another Most Wanted, which was all right, but it tried to do what the first one did. It was like a reboot of the same game.
It's almost
didn't go
like
well.
the Spider-Man series, isn't it? Like there was one like really good one near the beginning. It's just been kind of terrible since, and they keep trying to reinvent the wheel.
Spider-Man.
I meant play the games.
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Only
That's what
good.
I'm saying. So Spider-Man 1 was, Spider-Man 2 was amazing, and then everything after that was like...
Amazing Spider-Man wasn't amazing.
Oh,
Shattered Dimensions was pretty good. I mean,
That's true.
there's a few in there that sprinkle in.
As a kind of a fan thing, it was good.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a lot of those characters around.
So somebody who plays this game, I actually bought the 2015 game.
Did you?
Because the plan was to play with Degrado with James, and that didn't happen. Not because I didn't want to play with James, but because that game sucked. I could not get into it. So when I think of Need for Speed, I think of a couple things. The big one is car customization, street racing, and running from the cops. That's Need for Speed in a nutshell. Like those are the three things that make a Need for Speed game. Well, this had all three of those, except the customization sucked. It was a weird, like, open world, but open world to a certain extent. Like, whenever you went into an event, they closed the world off, which I didn't like.
That was weird.
So, like, Need for Speed Most Wanted, the one I played the most, which is by far my favorite, you would start the event, but you're still in the world, and it's up to you to figure out where to go. They were smart, though, they'd put up potentially walls in some areas that... Like,
Did you ever play Midnight Club?
Yes.
That's what they kind of reminded me of most, I think, was Midnight Club. Because that was that same kind of like nighttime racing, speed racer stuff.
The illegal street racing,
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
But the Midnight Club ones were not too shabby, mostly because Rockstar had
But the always online, I'm excited they're doing that. That's not an issue for me. That'll actually be part of our...
For some people, it's like...
Part of our bonus question here to later in the episode. But always online is not a huge issue for me, but I'm glad they brought it back because I know... Like, when I play a game single player, I want to be able to pause it. I want to be able to control the game by myself. Like, I'm playing that for me. Versus if I play a game online, I know I'm connecting to other players. And the other thing that sucked with the always online was you'd run into players randomly. So picture like an open world game where when you're in an event, it's not bad because it, again, closed it off, which is why I think they had to close it off. But if you're going around the world, some guy could just come in and just troll you. And I don't like that. That's not what Need for Speed is building your car up, getting your stats up, getting nicer cars. Showing off your bling. I used to have a really obnoxious
story element is important too because most Need for Speed have had a god awful story, but the ones that have had a half decent story is
Most
really
Wanted,
kind of
where you were the street racer, you got caught and you had to
That's why
work your way back
people.
up.
I mean,
the Blacklist.
Give us something that's like a little something to hold on to. It doesn't. I mean, we know it's a fucking car racing game. It doesn't have to be like Mozart. Or
you're not making
like,
It's like you said. It's I think combination of us. It's graphics, customization, street racing, and running from the cops. With some cool stunts in there. Like, that's... If you just give us that in a good form, I think people will be happy.
With a half-decent story.
Yes, with half-decent story. But the customization, I think, can make or break that game pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
if it's too complicated,
I'll keep an
nobody
open
likes
mind
it.
about it, but honestly, I haven't really enjoyed many arcadey racers since the Burnout series, Burnout Paradise being the last one.
I never played... I didn't like Burnout.
The original ones were kind of neat, mostly for the crash physics. They were one of the first games that had that kind of like crazy crash stuff, and there was like a lot of mini games and stuff.
These are more sim than... I mean, they are arcadian feel, but they're more
remind
sim.
me of like an updated
like
version of Road Rash or something.
I've never played that game either.
Yeah.
So... But yeah, that shows you kind of how slow the news week is today. We're starting with Need for Speed.
Starting with Need for Speed.
Moving from there,
here.
Actually, it's going to go up from here.
Great.
So we're starting with a giant game. Rumor is next Assassin's Creed is huge, like Skyrim. Ported screen grabs leaks. So this is from VG 24/7, and you can see there's a picture of a
boat
of a man on a boat.
Not a big boat though.
Not a big boat. It's like a sailboat.
Yeah.
So, Assassin's Creed Origins ditches its working title, and a slew of new details emerge. I don't know why that one sentence is up there.
The working title was Assassin's Creed Egypt, wasn't it?
Origins.
Oh, Origins was the working title?
Yeah.
So why do they always talk about it being in Egypt?
Because that's where it's supposed to be placed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Rumors about the next Assassin's Creed game have been swirling during the series' much-needed break. The latest one is suggesting that it will go down the Syndicate route with a pair of male and female protagonists. Thus far, we've heard that the project's title is Assassin's Creed Empire, and that is the setting is Egypt. There you go. WWG, I don't know who that is, Worldwide Gaming, I'm going to guess, claims to have spoken with sources at Ubisoft who have confirmed that the game will be revealed at E3 in a few weeks, and that the new Assassin's Creed title is Assassin's Creed Origins. So maybe Assassin's Creed Empire was the working name? I don't know. I don't follow Assassin's Creed. Apparently, the game is a very vast open world experience set in Egypt, telling the tale of the original Assassin's Guild. Character progression won't be intertwined with the story to the same extent as previous titles in the series.
Pre-Altair?
Could be.
Interesting.
With one of the sources going as far to compare it to Skyrim, players can even venture beyond the bounds of Egypt, possibly even as far as Greece. The freedom and exploration sounds like a far cry from the usual fare from the franchise. Another source told WWG that Assassin's Creed Origins is the game that will be huge, the biggest Assassin's Creed game ever created, which we are now at a place where that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as there's stuff in it.
Well, yeah, here's the thing about like making that your big marketing feature. No one was complaining about the size of Assassin's Creed games to begin with. You know, it wasn't like everyone was like, oh, these games are great, but they're too small. Everyone was saying, stop your glitching, stop trying to do too much, hone the story in a little bit. Like with Unity, the problem was they tried to have like 1 million people on screen at once, and it just caused all this kind of chaos with the GPU. And so, I mean, the fact that now we have to deal with potential like pop-ins and it just that. I mean, I'm not happy about it because if it's a good game, then the bigger the better. But you know, that shouldn't be what you lead with. I don't think. Well, I mean, maybe they didn't lead with it. Maybe that's just this
person's
media
thing. Yeah. If you zoom in on the image posted over on Imager, you'll notice that a couple objectives on the top left of the screen grab: assassinate the crocodile and follow Shadaya to Knut's villa? Yeah, that's a crocodile, which appears to be reference to Queen Knut during the 5th Dynasty. Thanks, Games Radar. That's literally what it says. Follow the E3 2017 reveal, and we can expect a fall release, which is in line with the series' usual October release date. Until Ubisoft announces the next Assassin's Creed game, again, take everything in this post as a rumor. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy Assassin's Creed took a year off because I got tired of it, like everybody else. I picked up the Assassin's Creed franchise after everybody. So, like, I was, like, 2 years late to the party. So I picked up, and it was a lot cheaper. I'm going to say that, though. It was a lot cheaper.
Imagine so.
But I played 1, 2, and then, was it 3 then Brotherhood, or was it 2 then Brotherhood? I can never remember.
It was 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3.
I stopped at Brotherhood
Black
and
Flag.
Revelations.
Huh?
Brotherhood and Revelations, the last 2 I did.
Yeah, those
and
are
then
the
I
last
stopped.
2 of Ezio's story.
Yeah, so I stopped there. And then
that was actually like if
played.
you stop there, then your opinions of the Assassin's Creed series are probably still pretty good.
Yes, yeah.
So
well, that because they did from that point forward, it's like I didn't care about.
You liked Ezio,
yeah.
I think that was the big thing. Was not only was Ezio such a kind of a charismatic character that people became fans of because they got to play him from very young through very old, but when they released Connor, he was just kind of Connor was from Assassin's Creed 3. He was just a brat. Like he was kind of annoying, and then they had a 9-hour tutorial in that game.
In the gameplay, and the other thing too is I mean I have ADD. I get very bored very quickly. The gameplay, again, I pushed all those together and played them within probably a year and a half. Okay. So, I guess that's, well, how long was between the first and second one? I think there was maybe 2 years between the first and second one. Then it went yearly.
A couple years, yeah.
Then it went yearly.
The jump between the first and the second Assassin's Creed game is probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest quality game jumps between sequels I've ever seen. Because Assassin's Creed 1
kind of like Uncharted 1 and 2.
Okay, well, yeah, even more than that. But that's a good example because Uncharted 1 was still like a pretty damn good game. Assassin's Creed 1 was an okay game. Like the premise was great, a lot of elements were great, but you were essentially doing the same 3 missions on repeat for the entire fucking thing.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the gameplay loop of doing those missions never really varied enough. It's the same concept, and that's why I stopped after Revelations because I was like, I'm tired of this gameplay loop. I don't care about this new character. Why would I jump back in?
3 did change it up a little bit. Like there was definitely a lot more to do in 3, but the problem was it was all kind of like non-consequential stuff. Yeah, it was like you can go hunting.
Kind of like you're saying with
don't need to go hunting.
Yeah, with the big, large open world. Like there's let's use Zelda right now as a prime example. Zelda, I think, is doing it right, where you can go and collect all 900 Korok seeds if you want to. They give you bonuses if you stumble across, like you're looking. It's one of those things where if you stumble across them, they give you upgrades, so you're looking for them, but you don't have to go hunting for all 900. It's not important. So there's people that'll go looking for them. There's people that'll just find them. People that'll look them up online and find them. Like that's fine versus coming out and like, oh, you can fish. Like I feel like everything in Zelda has a purpose, but it's not necessary to the game outside the core game mechanics, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it'll just add to your game versus
but at least it's adding to the game, because the
Yes.
problem with something like Assassin's Creed 3 was that when you could go hunting and you would get like wolf pelt or whatever that you could sell or maybe craft some stuff with, but essentially it wasn't like I played that entire game without fucking hunting anything unless it was part of a mission, and I completed the game just fine. There was no so with something like Far Cry, for example, where the hunting is like an actual like super important piece of the puzzle, because you have to hunt to be able to make like bigger satchels and better weapons and better ammo, and it just had more of a purpose to do it. But the problem with the Assassin's Creed game was there wasn't any. Although I will say this, Assassin's Creed Unity, as shitty as it was, had some really good side missions, because they had like these detective ones where you got to be Sherlock Holmes for a little bit.
You love that.
And I love that, yeah. So, you got to go and like survey the crime scene and find clues, and then you go and talk to different people. And of course, eventually you end up assassinating someone. But at the same time,
it is called Assassin's Creed.
It was it was a nice thing, as opposed to some of those like tower defense things they had in the early ones. You would have remembered those, right? Yeah,
not a fan of those.
Those were weird.
Some of my favorite missions in the ones I played was I always hate follow the leader missions, but the hide in the crowd missions were always fun initially.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is just how slow things go. But it is what it is. But there weren't a lot of them, as I remember. There was enough that I was like, "This is."
Yeah,
I did enough.
Spread out a little bit, like where you had to jump on the rooftops and shit like that. You talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, or you'd have the cluster of people that you had to get into somewhere. You had to follow them to blend in.
So the only thing that here's the thing. I love Assassin's Creed. I can overlook a lot of flaws in those games, and I still haven't played Syndicate through. I just got sidetracked, but the one thing which I will never forgive them for was kind of abandoning the whole Desmond side story, because like that was what sunk me into the game. It wasn't playing as an assassin in ancient whatever. It was the fact that I knew that I was actually a guy in a lab somewhere, and I was in my head I'm like, oh man, they're going to release multiple versions of these games, and Desmond's going to learn all these things, and then by like the fifth game you're going to be Desmond, and it's going to be the modern times, and I was so excited for that, and then they took this amazing story and just flittered it away. Like I don't even know where they're at with it right now. I have no idea if Desmond, I think he's dead at this point.
Probably.
Like, it's ridiculous. They ruined like a really good setup for it. That's the thing that pissed me off the most about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But I'll give it a go.
So you brought up Far Cry.
Yeah.
You ready for this one?
Yeah, do it.
The next Far Cry game to have a Wild West setting out in September is the rumor.
Wild West, huh?
You ready? The next Far Cry game looks like it's going to have a spaghetti western setting.
Spaghetti western, did.
The setting of Far Cry 5, or whatever the next Far Cry game ends up being called, has apparently leaked online in the most unconventional way.
Really?
The Grand Falls Tribune reported that a film crew shooting a live-action trailer for an unannounced game near a church in Montana Prairie. Yes, that's the end of the sentence. I was like, wait.
Jeff Gillow,
a producer on the shoot, revealed to the paper that this game is to be released in September. Gillow also said that the production stretched more than 5,000 miles from California and Montana, and that the game in question is a sequel to an existing global franchise. This all indicates that the trailers for a spaghetti western game are at least a game set in the 19th century America. Everyone immediately assumed that this is Red Dead Redemption 2. It's the only game with a western setting in development we know, after all. However, producer Jeff Gillow...
Does his accent just become a part of you?
Worked with Ubisoft before on promo campaigns for Driver, Red Steel 2, and Rabbids. So it's very likely that this trailer is being made for an Ubisoft game. The more obvious franchise here is Far Cry. In early 2015, Ubisoft polled players about several possible locations, and it could use the next Far Cry game. A game in the spaghetti western style set in 19th century America was one of those choices. Ubisoft previously used live-action trailers to promote its games, and it's very possible the new Far Cry will be revealed at the publisher's E3 showcase event next month. What did you think about that, Tom?
Let me get my bearings after that. So I mean, this is a little bit sort of like 2 and 2 makes 5, but at the same time, like they're probably close to it. And as for the setting and everything,
if it is indeed true. So when you think of Far Cry, what do you think of? Like, what do you
jungles?
That's what I was gonna say. I think of India or whatever. Well, it's not actually India, but like it's based on India.
It's based in like Tibet and China and Asia. And
close enough.
Like
yeah. Well, India's in Asia.
That's true. They've never done one in India, but there's elephants. So
yes,
I understand where you're coming from. But no, so
northern India.
So the first 2 Far Cry games were just jungle games. Well, no, actually, the first game is a jungle game. The second game is in Africa.
First game was weird.
First game was weird. Second game was weirder, I think. And a lot of people consider Far Cry 2 to be the best one because it was fucking hard. Like, there was a lot of, like, self-management stuff in there that you would die very easily. Like, you could bleed out over time and things like that. Yeah. And then with Far Cry 3, obviously, they reinvented the wheel a little bit. Again, that was probably one of the bigger jumps between sequels. Since Far Cry 3 just knocked everything out of the park, especially with Van. The weird part about Van was that he wasn't the main protagonist because they'd pinned him to be the main protagonist for ages, and you find out that he's like kind of a sibling to the main protagonist, which is kind of an odd choice because he dies relatively not quick, but a lot quicker than the big baddie does. And then Far Cry 4 was attempting to repeat Far Cry 3.
Was Far Cry 4 the one with the dude where if you didn't leave, you'd finish the game immediately?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That's the one.
Like I love that kind of thing because that's
it's like Ming Pen or something. I forget his name.
Yeah,
but if you stayed at the table at the beginning of the game, he would just come back and it would end. So, which I think is an amazing Easter egg.
Yeah,
because everyone's natural instinct, of course, was to run away. I assume someone just like turned it on and went to the bathroom and came back and
found
it was, like, credits rolling or something,
Like, huh?
But no, it was Far Cry 4 was not a bad game. It wasn't, but it was an obvious clone of the third game. And then they really fucked it up with Primal. Like Primal was just bad. They tried something. It was okay, but
so Primal to me felt like a off. Well, it's an offshoot, but like it felt like
a side
not
story.
Not a full game. Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like
like a DLC or something. Yeah, and here's the thing: like it did have a lot of good ideas with it, but it's just like that's not Far Cry. Like you see what does best with Far Cry, stick to that. So if they're going Wild West, like you said, that's not Far Cry. So I mean, it could be a really good like FPS Western, and that's fine. But as far as making it a Far Cry game, well, now you have a lot of other things to contend with because I can't picture there being that many interesting animals in the Wild West. I mean,
there's prairie dogs, there's
coyotes, and scorpions, and stuff, but
horses.
If they have, I guess if they have some like inbuilt poker games and stuff. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption is obviously going to absolutely smash the Western genre out of the park this year. So it seems like a silly choice.
And the next 4 years.
I wouldn't mind if they did it like if they changed the setting quite extremely to something like like Neon Tokyo or something like that would be kind of cool. Like being able to use elements of a modern city as opposed to using like elements of a jungle or something. But I just think like the West is just such a boring place.
Well, thank you.
What? Do you live in the Wild West?
We live in the West.
No, the Wild West. I think it's not boring. Like I like the good and bad and the ugly as much as anyone else.
Do you like Will Smith's Wild Wild West? Ha ha, Drew Hill. Wild Wild West.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of. I will wait until I see a trailer before I make a full jump. But if the trailer's live action, apparently they're not going to fucking tell me anything anyway. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So that's the news. Just so you guys know, we are the Level 2 Gamers. This is your weekly podcast from us. We release it every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Or if you have a podcast application, you might want to check it Tuesday night.
There you go, because he puts it up early on there. So if you want the audio version, it usually goes up the night before. If you were watching the video, it goes up at 11:30 the day after. And with that, let's go on to the game spotlight.
Like this.
Shimmy, 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 shimmy.
All right.
What's your game that you're going to spotlight this week?
It was tough because I didn't really have anything.
I didn't either.
I had been playing a game a lot, but I didn't know if I wanted to do a spotlight on it. But I decided, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. So this because
it's my podcast.
Yeah, I wanted to do the Prey demo earlier, and I played that, and honestly, like I was kind of like underwhelmed with some aspects of it. So
I haven't played it yet. I still want to play it, but I've heard, like I told you earlier,
I got like lost and stuff,
lukewarm.
and it kind of got ridiculous. I got stuck in this weird circle where I just couldn't get out, and I had to like reload a previous.
There's some people that love it though, so we don't want to shit on it. But
oh no, I'm sure it's a wonderful game. I just I didn't have enough good solid time with it, I think, to form an honest opinion of it.
Yeah,
because it's a big game. So instead, I went for a game I played a lot of recently, which is Mario Kart Deluxe 8.
Nope, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
There you go. On the Switch.
Which we should play that.
Sure.
We should do that. That should be a thing.
You want to die?
Oh, kick your butt. What do you think? You've never played Mario Kart 8, so we'll start.
No, which is why I think I like it.
The last Mario Kart you played we played Double Dash.
GameCube.
Okay, so Double Dash. So this gives you context.
I played 3 Mario Kart games in my life. I've played the SNES, the N64, and the GameCube. I never played the Wii version, or if I did, I remember nothing about it, and I probably
it was pretty forgettable. I mean, it was Mario Kart, but it was of the Mario Kart games.
I feel like maybe I played it, but I maybe played it.
Do you have the wheel?
Once.
That's how you know.
I can't remember.
That's how you know.
Yeah, we bought a Wii again recently for whatever reason, and
you can have my Wii U that just sits and collects dust. You can play Wii games on that.
Sure,
it just sits there.
GameCube as well, can't you? Or is that just the Wii?
No, it's just the Wii. Games only on the older version of the Wii. The newest ones don't allow it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can or not.
Does your thing have the GameCube controller ports?
I don't know.
If it does, then it can. If it doesn't, then you don't.
I would assume that's the sticking thing.
Yeah. But
I got a Switch, as we mentioned last week, and I played a little bit of Zelda. I didn't want to go too nuts on it. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for it. So played a little bit of Zelda, and then Mario Kart 8 came out Deluxe, and I've been playing that pretty much every day since it released.
Does that surprise you, or?
Yeah, a little bit, because I'm not really a race game fan. I don't really like playing games like Mario Kart unless I have friends to play with.
You're not a huge Mario fan,
but not as much as you.
No.
Anyway,
I mean, I'm also.
But I did grow up playing Mario Kart a lot with my friends, so there's definitely this weird nostalgia factor, and of course, you want to unlock everything so that when you do play with your friends, you have everything to choose from. So I've been kind of focusing on that. Like, okay, I have to do all the 50 cc's and all the 100 cc's and all the mirrors.
Have you done the battle mode yet?
No,
because that was the biggest. So as a Mario Kart fan, you'll know this. Mario Kart 64, in my opinion, best battle mode ever made.
It's a good one.
Period. Best battle mode ever made because it had special arenas for it. This one brought back the battle mode and other game modes along with it, like variations of battle mode. But I was very excited when they brought that back and gave you true battle arenas. In the previous Mario Karts before this, you would battle on the actual racetracks, and you know how long those are.
Yeah.
It's like you may not run into somebody for a while. So I was excited they did that. Obviously, the Deluxe brings dry bones is the big selling point along with battle and all that. But I love Mario Kart, and it's gorgeous. It's pretty looking. It's
that was one of the more noticeable things, actually, because like I said, the last one I actually remember playing was on the GameCube. So as far as me imagining what a Mario Kart would look like on a solid machine, I was really.
Do you play TV mode or handheld or both?
I've done both. Yeah.
Do you have a preferred method?
TV, just
TV.
Bigger screens.
Do you play with dog head? Right, because you don't have the Pro Controller.
I do. I play with the dog head, and also
you play with Murray's head.
Jess has joined me a couple times, so we've done the Joy-Cons, which is not as fun as you would think it would be.
Yeah.
And let me explain.
Well, it's because the sticks are off center.
Yeah, the one is a little bit to the left, the one is in the middle, but it just it's more the gripping it, because you feel like you have to have little tiny hands to do it, and I don't have tiny hands. So I got kind of uncomfortable. I could do it and I could enjoy the game and everything, but I definitely feel like I need to buy a Pro Controller and then have her have the dog head or vice versa, just to get past that.
I think
in a pinch it's okay though.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I did is I played snipper clips with. At lunch, Garrett, one of the guys at work that owns it, we played snipper clips with the two Joy-Cons. And that was fine because it's not an action game. You could hold it one hand while you're waiting for somebody else to do something. I had the same feeling of I did the same thing with the Xbox 360 where I used to crack my knuckles together because of underneath. I feel like I do the same thing.
Yeah, I have this weird claw grip thing that I have going on. But it's not terrible. You do feel like it's harder to press those shoulder buttons than when they're a part of
those are the item buttons, right? Those are the item buttons, I believe.
Well, one is items, the left is items, and the right
Drift.
is drift. Your
Which is important
X
as well.
and or A button is, depending on which one you're holding, is to go.
Did you
But
did you tell Jess push the X button? She had the A one. There's
I
no
just
X.
said push the button on the far right.
There's no X button.
There's pretty much literally just like 3 buttons. I don't think there's anything more than that. So like it's really easy, like especially for her to pick up and play. Within about like 3-4 games, she was like coming in second as opposed to like
I'm
last.
gonna blow your mind here.
Go for it.
Because I am a big Mario Kart fan, as you know. I'm a big Mario fan, but Mario Kart is a fun one. This Mario Kart has the greatest and best breakdown when it comes to racing type, because it's the best because you can see the stats, but it's the worst because you can't tell what those do. Like, you can't compare carts designs.
Is that what
Does
you're
that make
referring
sense?
to? I was going to say that when you said racing types, you mean the
cart style. So
Okay.
between carts, the gliders, and who you're using, it's kind
wheels.
of in the wheels. So those are the 4 things, the 4 variables.
I don't pay any attention to. I just look for the prettiest one.
I also like you can choose colors. Like, I watched the Game Grumps play where they played with the blue Yoshi, and Danny was like, "Oh my god, it's a blue Yoshi!"
Yeah, you can change Yoshi's color. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I needed my traditional Yoshi. And by the way, I have played as Yoshi every single time.
See, I play as Mario or I'm trying to think who I used to play with back in the day. No, I never played with Toad. I hated Toad because Toad's annoying as
Most
balls.
people that I played
it's
with
quick.
fought over Toad because
it's quick,
faster. But
Yeah,
Yoshi was always
acceleration.
better. I think his acceleration was better.
Yeah. So, Mario Kart 8. What's your so far? You enjoying it? You tell people if they have a Switch to get
enjoy
it.
I love the fact that the levels switch up quite significantly.
Do they have classic maps?
They
Like
do,
racing?
yeah,
Okay.
they absolutely do.
Because I
so
love
here's
that.
the thing: there's like 16 cups. Mm-hmm. That's 16 times 4.
Yes.
Lots of races.
Yes.
And so the first,
That's because it's the deluxe edition.
yeah, I mean the first 4 to 8 are like mostly new. There's like the occasional weird one thrown in there, and then the last 8 are all
Throwbacks.
Like picking. But it's nice the way they do it because they pick like one from the DS,
Yeah.
one from the GameCube, one from the 64.
Is the airport level on it?
There is an airport level.
Yes,
yeah.
I love the airport level. And obviously Rainbow Road.
Where you jump through the plane.
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that
That's
level.
on there.
I love that
And
level.
but you have like the underwater sections. You have these hover sections.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that now you can do tricks off jumps and stuff is amazing.
Tom likes his tricks.
Yeah, I was like doing like Tony Hawk flips and stuff off. I was really digging it. But and then the flight as well, because the flight becomes an intricate part of the race because you can control the glider. So like you can go to a secret shortcut or whatever using the glider. But the amount of characters, the fact you can change the characters, the amount of races, the fact that they are like all over the place. There's still your Grand Prix, still your multiplayer,
And there's
still
no
your,
DLC
and your
for it.
battle's new. Well, it doesn't need to be because
That's
it's
what
so
I'm saying.
full already.
That's what I'm saying. They give you a game. There's no DLC.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to
I
incorporate.
still hate friend codes.
Yes.
That's
that's a
stupid.
Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to incorporate amiibos into it somehow.
It does have an option for amiibos.
So I wonder how that would
Yeah,
work.
I don't know how that works. You can also put your.
I have
in there.
amiibos, so I can bring them over and see what happens.
Sure.
I don't know. I
But
have to find them.
yeah, I mean, it's literally at this point in time the definitive version of Mario Kart.
Yes.
Both graphically, enjoyably, play-wise, all the weapons are great. I love it a lot. So yeah, I probably can see myself playing this for a long, long time. Even after having like played it like every day for a week or so, I still haven't finished all the 50cc races. So
Jeez.
yeah. So I'm really excited about it. So I do highly recommend it if you have a Switch.
I want to get a Switch for like Mario Kart is one of the games that I know I'm going to pick up at some point when I get a Switch. I'm still waiting for Super Mario Odyssey. Plus, I'm hoping to get it for Christmas.
That was another thing about it was that I know Zelda has that unique art style, but when you see the Mario Kart graphic capabilities, you think, oh, so this is what Mario's going to look like, and it gives you like a little bit of a smile because you think, yeah, it's actually going to look fucking great. So
because the Switch supports Unity.
And the output was good, because I have been expecting Switch games to be a little shittier. It turns out because a lot of them are cartoony, you don't notice.
Yep,
because they're not going
it's an art style.
for like
that's where I think third parties have the issue. That's getting to that conversation.
That's going to be
a whole different conversation. But
to see like what Skyrim has to lose and stuff to pull that off. So.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a beautiful game. I highly recommend it if you have a Switch. And what's yours?
Mine is one that we actually have played on the channel and one that we have both played a lot. And I've been recently, those of you who noticed, I have a blender bottle here that's got some weird lines going on. Looks like that's the protein not being mixed up.
Some maggots in there.
Yeah. I'm trying to get back in shape. and when I say that, I just want to lose weight. I don't want to be a super jacked muscle person. My goal, I put it on my personal Facebook page. My goal is for cons next year to have the ability to cosplay as Deadpool if I wanted to. Like, that's my goal.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Will you, if you can?
I would love to.
Okay.
I can't say yes yet.
I'd like to see you interview someone.
That's what I'm saying.
In a
It'd be fun to interview as
costume.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Should interview Ryan Reynolds in a Deadpool costume. That'd be good.
That would be. I would just hand it to him, be like, here, take it. I did watch Deadpool the other day, though. But so my game is, so on top of that, I've been trying to find games that get me more active, and VR is really good with that with a couple games. And I've been playing a lot of Fruit Ninja, which you would think Fruit Ninja, it's not, I mean, not that intense, but if you do it for, I don't know, 30 minutes to half an hour, it's a lot of like, I do, what is it? I think not the Zen. Is it the Zen mode? I can't remember.
Zen is where they just keep popping up from the floor.
I think so. Yeah. So I do that one, and it has the cannons on the side. Is that, or it's arcade mode? I can't remember.
The cannon one is like a hardcore one.
Yeah, I don't know. I do both of those because I start off with whatever one doesn't have the cannon, so I can like warm up, and then I'll do the one with the cannons, and it's just like you don't realize how much you're moving when you're playing until you're done. You're like, whew, I'm out of breath. I mean, we have video of it.
If you can sweat in a game, then you're losing weight, man. Yeah. That's so it's actually a really cool tool for that.
Before anybody jumps down my throat and be like, you can't play video games to lose weight, you're wrong, first of all. But it is not the only thing I'm doing. So I kind of agree that if I were to just do this, I probably wouldn't lose that much weight.
I mean, you'd probably
on top of other things.
A decent weight.
But I did, where you're wrong, is the Kinect on Xbox 360, Your Shape Fitness Evolved, lost 45 pounds while playing that bitch. So back off.
And Wii Fit, too.
Yeah, Wii Fit you could cheat, though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
versus Kinect, you can't.
Kind of fun, though.
VR, you kind of could. You could just, well, I guess not really because it tracks it.
Yeah, you still
so
have
it's
to
harder.
move.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that's, I had a lot of fun with Fruit Ninja.
It's a stupid game that just like,
but,
it's a stupid game that's a lot of fun to pick up and play. And like I said, I play it right now. My goal is to play it roughly 15 to half an hour a day. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes it goes shorter. Sometimes I don't do it because I'm doing something else.
It's now part of your daily routine?
Yes.
To play Fruit Ninja?
Yep.
What about Hollow Ball?
Hollow Ball, not as much because you don't. I thought about that, so I went into. I don't know if you saw, but I went into the RPS VR group and said, "Hey, what other game? These are the two games. I have Hollow Ball and I have Fruit Ninja. What other games are good for like building a sweat?" People said Headmaster, and I was like, "Kinda. That could be an ab workout. I could see."
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but it's not,
I could see that.
Not the same.
Not you wouldn't build up a sweat playing that, but there is a lot of this. So I guess you'd work your neck muscles.
Yeah, or if you use your body, you use your core.
Yeah.
But I went in there and they kind of said those are the two. So like Hollow Ball I thought about, but the problem I have with Hollow Ball is you don't move as much because it's so far away from you.
But
and
I
it's
feel
a lot
like
slower.
with Hollow Ball you're actually physically moving. Like you're going left and going right a lot of the times, whereas with Fruit Ninja you're stood on the spot.
Have you seen me play Fruit Ninja?
Yes, I recorded you play Fruit Ninja.
I do this.
Okay.
I don't want to swing because I'll whack something, but I do this.
You're doing a lot of this. Yeah.
So there's one moment where I was playing the other day, and they have the bananas that freeze it, slows down time, and so I had the two cannons shooting from either side of me. The time was frozen, and I just go, whew, whew, like it probably looked like I was rowing, but it was perfect because it was wonderful. But I love that game, and it's very much. I like being distracted when I'm working out. I don't like going for runs. I go for walks, but I need something. So when I played basketball, soccer, that was perfect because I had something to follow the ball.
Basketball.
Yeah, pretty much. but I need something to distract me to make me realize I am not working out afterwards. Because I'm one of those few people, or one of the majority of people, that hate the concept of working out and hate working out, but I love the results of working out.
I think that's everyone. Although there is some people that genuinely do.
Sarah,
like
I think,
running and things like
loves
that.
working out. Yeah, one of my best. Did I tell you about my? I ended up going to prom with her in high school, but she ran an impromptu marathon like 2 years ago.
Speaking of which, actually, Jess finished her second ever 5K this weekend. So I'm super proud of her.
It was not the color run; it was another one.
No, but this one was. It was like 5K de Mayo or something. It was really close to the 5th de Mayo, but the Cinco de Mayo, but
the 5th de Mayo.
But it wasn't quite. It was
Cinco
like
de May.
the 7th or something.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was a proper one. It was one of the ones where you have to run and or walk pretty fast the entire way around, as opposed to the color run where you stop every 10 minutes and get color splattered on you and drinks and stuff. So yeah, she made it through the whole thing. She was she didn't come last too either, so she was pretty happy about that. So we wanted to give a quick shout out to her for that.
You're gonna do one. We're gonna make you do a 5K.
She's
We're gonna make
She
you do
wants
a
me to
5K.
do it. I am not opposed to it.
I'll
but-
do it. We'll do it, and we'll film it.
Yeah.
I'll wear a body camera.
No one wants to see that.
What?
Me.
You running?
But I do go running with her occasionally, like to help her practice for these things. And I've discovered I'm not bad at it, considering my weight and everything. I don't really get tired running around a park. But 5K might be a different story. I don't know.
It's 5 kilometers
Never
for those
tried
of you who speak American.
True. It's 3 miles or so.
Yeah, roughly. I do that in a day around Creve. I went to go Creve Coeur Lake yesterday, and it was flooded, so I couldn't go.
Yeah.
They closed it down. I was very sad.
Everything's still flooded.
Yeah.
Including the river outside my house.
No.
Did you see that?
No.
I don't know how to turn this off. I thought I turned it off.
You hit the mute button. So you
I
pull
saw-
up from the bottom and you hit mute.
Don't you do it on your... If you do it on your phone, then it does it...
No.
Like, oh, really?
I don't know.
Oh, well, it's
Anyways, Tom
muted
doesn't know how to
now.
Apple Watch.
I just got it back. It was broken.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
good job.
I forgot.
So let's move on to the bonus level. The question today is kind of getting on the Need for Speed Always Online. With games being always online, there's 2 ways to build a game. One, you can have the DLC package or the update package route. So the games I'm using as examples is GTA. With GTA Online has a long life because the updates have been releasing season passes. The Division's now doing season 2. Rainbow Six Siege did season 2. And Elder Scrolls is about to release Morrowind. Like, these games are 3-4 years old, but they're still going because of this. Or do you prefer where people release a new game every 2 to 3 years? What's your take on it?
Well, I think it depends on the game. Because with a game like Elder Scrolls, for example, that's an online MMO. It was designed to last a long time. It's hard for them to be able to do that much in the way of graphical upgrades, although they can go in and do little, updates to bits and pieces. And also they can sort of optimize it for future things like they did with the Pro. But for a game like that, adding a big chunk of whatever with the season pass or with, individual DLCs is a good way to go, because it's designed to last you practically forever, because even when you're done with every mission, there's still things to do. However, with some other games, I'm trying to think of something that's not an MMO, which is because like the Division and stuff like that. Well, even the Division, like the problem there, to me, with Destiny as well. As much as I hate the fact they're doing sequels for those games, mostly because it's lying from what they originally said, there is a certain level of graphical fidelity that those games achieved that was, at the time, kind of stunning and will degrade. So you can't just keep updating it and updating it and updating it and just like patching in a few little like extra tweaks here and there. At some point, in order to completely rebuild the engine, you have to release another game. Or to like satisfyingly go through another arc of the story. I'm not opposed to the idea of having a game that just like lasts forever, but they always add new story to it. Right. But Warcraft, you're still like waiting like really long times between releases, as opposed to, sometimes those expansions didn't come out for a couple of years. And that's even more than than a sequel would be. But again, it's the type of game. So I think it depends on that.
See, I'm very much the updated game I already own, because especially if I'm into that game. That's the big thing. Like, if it's a game I'm playing constantly, I hate... So, the example I use is, like, of new sports games. We've talked about it before, where...
I'm not opposed to it for sports games.
Or with sports games, you get it, and you get a new game, and you're like, well, all my progress is gone. And that's how I feel a lot of times. If I was a big Destiny fan, and you know how I feel about Destiny, and how much I don't like Destiny because of the way it kind of went down with me personally, is if I was somebody like, I don't know, Nate, Brian... Wrath, all those people that played it constantly and had their character, and the Destiny 2 gets dropped, and you're like, what the hell? Where all my time was gone. And I guess that's true for any video game, because at some point, every game, like you said, has an ending life. Yeah. But it's also...
But also, how do you...
With a game like that, and like you said, with the type of game, MMO...
Yeah.
Is...
But
I have a different expectation.
With an MMO, though, you're putting a lot of time into that character, like specifically because it's an RPG game. But if you have a lesser RPG elemented game, something that's just a standard game, eventually you're going to want to play as a different person. It could be the same setting and whatever, but you might want to play as a female character instead of a male character or whatever. And I know that you have those options to build those characters in a game like Elder Scrolls, but as far as like sinking your time in, there are some games where your progression means nothing. So for those games, it makes more sense to do an update that is, you know, that they can actually put new weapons, new character, new story in. But also, you don't play single player games.
No.
So like for the people that play single player games, what are they going to do?
That's what I was going to bring up with the Uncharted. Like, you're not going to do... They did the Uncharted DLC, though.
But yeah, DLC is never like a full game, though. You know, even this Morrowind DLC that's coming out, it's still not going to be the size of the original Elder Scrolls Online.
It'll still make your game 120 gigabytes.
Putting a Band-Aid on the shelf life of the game, basically, which is fine, and I'm okay with that. But I think for a lot of games, it's eventually time to rip the Band-Aid off and try and come up with something new and impressive, because you can't get those killer new mechanics, that killer new story, that killer new graphics, you know, engine or whatever, into a game with an existing game.
See, I beg to differ a little bit there, because with Always Online, the reason I'm gonna kind of argue is cloud computing is becoming more and more a thing. So if you can use resources of an offsite computer to do that, then we're getting to the point where it's not as big of an issue. So we're not there yet.
You're saying if we're at a point where we only stream games, it would be okay.
Yes. So if we had like an online only game, and again, I have opinions on online only games. I think every game should have the option of an online mode and an offline mode, because I understand that everybody has online. Majority of the people that I know that own a game console, though, are connected to the internet some way, somehow. But I also live near a city, so that's...
But our internet is nowhere near good enough to support that type of game.
No.
Like, I mean,
but we're getting to that point.
We're getting there, but we're not there yet, and we're talking about today. So
that's what you think.
Well, you made the question.
Make another prediction.
You're
by 2026.
But like, I had PlayStation Now for a little bit, and you know, as cool as the idea was, practically for me it wasn't working great because my internet just couldn't keep up with it.
See, I've had no issues the 2 games I played in, I had no issue with it. So
it's you know, it's weird. It's one of those things where I think you have to nail it down to the individual game or the individual that's playing as to their preferences, because I don't think there is like a right answer to it or like a better answer to it. I think it's just a case of, you know, like, my opinion is I play more single-player games. I like the idea of a sequel much the same as I like the idea about a sequel movie. You know what I mean?
I could care less about, like, I'm one of those people when I see a number on the movie, I'm like, I don't care. I'd rather have, and it's stupid because it's kind of just comes down to the semantics of it, but Thor. You had Thor, and you had Thor 2, which was not called Thor 2. It was called Thor something. Ragnarok?
Ragnarok was the third one, I think. It was like the Thunder...
whatever it was.
I don't know.
But it's a sequel, but it's not a number. I always feel weird. So from somebody who doesn't play a lot of games that have numbers, I feel weird if you notice any game I've played so far, majority of them do not have a number attached because I never played the original. I feel like I'm missing out on something then. Yeah, versus if I bought a game with a DLC, I could go back and play the original story and get caught back up.
Again, though, that's because you started late into gaming, so for you personally, that makes sense. But for a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time, they've been following those.
Well, what about the little kids? So, like,
same thing.
Somebody who, like my brother's age. My brother's about to turn 18 this year, and he was born in 1999.
Well, that's what the remasters are for, though. Like, all these remasters of old games are how you kind of get to experience those older games.
But they're not doing them all. Like, that's what it's like. Final Fantasy. Like, again, Final Fantasy might be a bad example because they're all different. But like, going back to a series and like understanding the history, I think is very important to see how far you've come. Because
in some instances,
if I was to jump into Call of Duty now, and if I had no previous knowledge of Call of Duty, I think my opinion would be different versus somebody like you that has the knowledge of what Call of Duty used to be and what Call of Duty was, and being like, what is this?
But that could be for better or for worse, because for me, I yearn for the original, you know, Call of Duties, because I remember having a lot of fun with them, which could have been down to the people I was playing with at the time I was, how happy I was. And then, you know, for the people that are coming in new to the series, this might blow them away because they've never had a chance to experience that. So they get to enjoy a game, which I won't enjoy. So it's kind of, you know, it can go either way. You know, you can remember fondly the things that are taken away, the things that are improved, or if you're fresh to it, it's all new. So it's a different experience, but you're still getting something. With Call of Duty and and Final Fantasy as well, especially, like, they always try and re-release those for every generation because of how much, like, stock that people put in those stories and those games. But
I wish they didn't number them because that's to me. I know it's again real dumb, but that's an intimidating factor.
All right, so have you seen the Tom Jane Punisher movie?
No.
Okay, so there's a Tom Jane Punisher movie. Do you know who Tom Jane is?
No.
Okay, look it up later. So Tom Jane was in this version of the Punisher movie, which was the second Punisher movie. Actually, Dolph Lundgren made one in the 80s, but that movie was considered to be a kind of a cult classic because it was one of the only times when, even though it was like cheesy in places, it was kind of the best version of the Punisher that had been done to that point. John Bethnal. Well, I'm ignoring John Bethnal and Daredevil now, because that was after. Also, there was another guy, Ray someone or other, that did a sequel to that was god-awful. But after Tom Jane did that movie, they made a short, which was about 15-20 minutes long. It was called Dirty Laundry. And it had, like, A-list stars in there. Tom Jane was in there. Ron Perlman was in there. And
I don't know who Ron Perlman was. I found that out the other day, too.
Well, now you know. And, so they had this, like, 10, 20-minute story. It was incredible because it was like they took what people liked about the Tom Jane Punisher character and then also added everything that everyone had asked for to that point, like make it more violent, make it more, despicable, make it dirtier world. And it was great, but it was only 10 or 20 minutes. So you have this good Punisher movie, a taster of maybe even better Punisher movie, and then there's been no announcement for anything since. With video games, with DLC, it's kind of the same thing. You have a good base story. You have a little bit of something like, let's say you have good Division, then you have like the Underground, and you're like, okay, this is cool, but it's still a taster. It's still not a full game. It's just like a little bit of a tweak. And then you're waiting for them to do something big, which in this case is going to be Season 2 or whatever. I still feel like they're going to release Season 2 as a separate disc or something and just call it the Division Season 2. But
that's not what they did with Rainbow Six Siege. I'm going based on what they did with that.
Yeah.
Because same publisher.
Well, either way. But I think there's DLC can only enhance small parts of the original game. It can't give you a new experience.
But if you're already tied into that experience, so I mean, the big one, obviously, the big one in all of this is GTA Online, GTA 5.
I think it's time for GTA 6.
I don't, because GTA 5 is a fantastic world. I think they're...
But you can still play... Like, that game doesn't disappear from the annals of history because you buy another one. Like,
but you want people to play GTA...
There's still people that play GTA 4 and 3 and Vice City and that kind of stuff. It doesn't... It's having that whole new story, because what if you got bored of playing in that setting, in that environment? Were you just going to... you're not just going to do a DLC, a whole entire different city and a whole entire different character.
That's actually the rumor they're trying to do, is a new section of the map.
No, it'd be stupid. They just need
Why? Because the thought process, you have airplanes and you have boats right now that you don't utilize.
Okay, so let's pretend the next GTA setting is a different time period. How do you mash that into the main game?
I'm not talking about... So I'm talking about keeping the core of the game the same and extending it for... Maybe the life of the game is 4 years instead of...
But let's say you want to play a different time. So like with Vice City, for example, you couldn't mash Vice City into GTA 5 because they take place in the 80s versus today.
Modern day.
So how do you... Like, you could add it as like, oh, there's a stupid story where you stumbled on a DeLorean.
There's
a
scientist,
and went back in time. But like...
You just answered your question.
That's stupid, though. Like, you want to be able to have new settings and adjust
The
accordingly.
question I have to that, then, is it stupid if you have... Let's use your DeLorean example. You find the DeLorean, but that DLC is fantastic outside of how you got there. Would you be fine with that? If saying it's a new setting, it's a new character, you're following the Ballad of Gay Tony. Something like that. Like, it's...
But that's still a set in the same world.
Yes, but I'm saying, but it's that kind of, like, that lovable of a character. Well, lovable is debatable. That... I guess people like them. But you have that kind of DLC. It just is a weird quirk to get there. Would you be fine with that?
No.
Really? I disagree with you. I disagree with your opinion.
You usually do. I'm not surprised.
Because I think... Because it's one of those things where if you were to go in and you're going to buy a... I'm going to use Division because that's what I play a lot. I bought the Division base game and the season pass. Say they go in and... With the Division, they go and have a DLC that talks about what happened before the plague and how this all happened. I would be totally fine with that because I don't necessarily... It's a video game. I don't need the story to necessarily connect in the world. I just need it to be added to the world. It's like a comic book series. If you look at a comic book series, how many different fucking universes are there, but how do they all tie together?
What about optimization? Like in terms of, say you have the Division as your example, and then they decide they want to release another game associated with the Division, which is before the virus breaks out. That would have to be, in order to make any kind of sense chronologically, they'd have to do it as like maybe a separate part of the title screen where it's like, this is Origin Division or whatever. Still same game, but it's a separate part of like what you can
I don't have
load
an issue
into.
with that.
Yeah, but when you go into it and you're in that whole other area, you're compounded by not only adding a ton of extra gigabytes to the current version that you have, because you're not able to try and optimize the whole thing. You can only optimize a part of it to try and keep it small. But also, like, if you did want to do any kind of graphical upgrades and everything, then now you have to do it for everything as opposed to just the DLC. If that's, if it's easier to do it for the DLC. There's so many, like, blocks that developers would hit that they'd want to be able to straddle over, but they'd be stuck and defined by the previous architecture that's in place for that game.
And I'm not saying it's going to stay like that forever, but I always, like, to me, the way I look at like a Division, a Destiny, any sort of online game like that, it should last the life of the console. If the console life is average 7 years, give me a game that lasts 7 years. Because I think right now what happens, and I think it's a money grab where you release new games because people are going to buy them. And that's just the way it's going to work. If I have a game,
you still have to buy the DLC. You have to buy the season pass. Like,
yes,
there's no getting.
But
away
it's
with that
it's
stuff.
usually a little bit cheaper than doing the new game. And I guess my big.
But then you're never going to get a new game. You're only ever going to get experiences. Like even with Morrowind, which is huge, it's still like $40.
But I love Elder Scrolls. That's what I'm saying. Like I love that environment. Why would I want to go? I don't want to leave that
because
to buy
that's
another
an
game.
MMO though. Like I said, for certain games, it makes sense. For an MMO, it makes sense because you're continuing with this character for years and years of your life. So yeah, make that last as long as it can. That's playing Warcraft. That's playing RuneScape. That's supposed to be like that. But for games like The Last of Us or something like that, I would hate for like the remastered version of The Last of Us to just suddenly get an update that's The Last of Us 2. It doesn't make any sense because you're tying it to a game that already has certain settings in place, certain limitations in place. So they wouldn't be able to have such a graphical fidelity jump or such a, whatever.
But I don't think that's as important when it comes to. I've always been a gameplay over graphics guy myself. Like graphics, they have to look good to be able to function, but that's about it. And like Last of Us 2, Last of Us is a fantastic looking game. If you come in and you call the Last of Us whatever the hell they would call it, like the next chapter, that's a dumb name.
It's called just Part 2.
But I know, but the game's called Part 2. But if they came in and made a DLC that's called like the Afterlife. I don't remember how it ends, but I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't played it. But they just do a chapter 2 to it, kind of like Telltale style. You keep that going for the generation. Then Last of Us 2 launches with the PS5 in 2018, which I predicted. Then you have that for that console generation and go on from there. And you could release those events for that sequence because you're building that base.
You get a sequel when you release a console.
Yeah, because
the console span is 7 to 10 years.
Yes, because I think that'd be fine with DLC because then you're spreading that DLC out and building upon that game, getting that community bigger.
There's only one way to solve this, I think. But okay, and before I get into that, because I have more, what if it's a shitty game? How do you get out of that? What if it's shitty because of the way you coded the game? Then you never have the opportunity to improve upon that game because you're just adding to an already shitty structure of a game. Your engine's
That's
terrible.
your fault.
So you're just fucked for 7 years? Can't try and make a sequel to try and improve on the bad engine like we talked about with Assassin's Creed. Imagine if Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2 you were confined by Assassin's Creed, then it would be shitty.
That's your fault. That's how I mean if you look at like the Division, Division is a complete I know. But Division was a complete clusterfuck when it came to things functioning. It was broken. And I'm one of the players that have played it since day one, and I've fought through the brokenness. And there are very few games out there that are broken to the point that you can't fix it. I think developers don't work on fixing games because they're working on the next game instead of trying to fix what they screwed up. So my argument to that is fix your shit and don't make anything else until you fix it because No Man's Sky, clear example of No Man's Sky. Granted, that's more of expectation versus reality. But
in terms of a game like No Man's Sky, even though they've tried to fix it, there's so much to fix there. The company would go out of business putting bad money into bad. or good money
well,
into
Hello
that.
Games is dead in general just because of that.
Well,
but
they could be revived if they were to take that principle and improve upon it in a million different ways before they release the damn game and then release the game.
yeah, I think their biggest issue was they went silent for so long and didn't say sorry. They've never come out and said we screwed up.
I feel like they partially did.
Yeah, that's partial. They didn't actually. They've never come out and
They never
specifically
made
said,
it like an official.
Yeah,
like,
we never came out and said
press
we screwed it
conference
up
or anything. But you know, they're developers. Why should they? They like the game. It just, I think that Sony, if anyone, oversold it for them. I don't think it was their fault that the advertising was the way that it was. I think Sony just saw the reaction at E3 and was like, okay, we need to pretend this is a AAA game when it's not.
Yeah. So, but my argument, getting back to what you're saying, would be fix it. Like, there's too many game developers, I think, right now that don't do that, and it's because they're working on something next. Do you always hear, like...
But they have different teams doing that as well, though. I mean, the team that makes Call of Duty...
But why would you have different people...
different team making the next Call of Duty. The team that makes Assassin's Creed blah is a different team making the next Assassin's Creed. They overlap anyway, so they have plenty of time to fix it.
They do, but they don't.
Well, that's, you know...
So
just the circle of life.
I know, but if you tell... So Call of Duty, you have, what, 3 devs, I think? 2 devs.
Well, there was... Infinity Ward broke up and they became Respawn. So now you have Treyarch and I guess I guess it's still Infinity Ward. I don't know.
So you have one dev make the base game. They work on the DLC. Second dev can either work on the second DLC and or plan for the next launch. Because at that point, because depending on how far these DLC are spread apart, you're heading towards a next generation launch anyway. So the only flaw in the argument I'm making right now that I see,
I'm gonna let you.
You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Is they don't know when the next console generation is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big one.
And they can't develop on it until they get prototypes.
Until they have it, yeah. So I understand that it's not a completely flawless statement, but I think I think I'm making a fair argument for it when it comes to give me a platform that will last. So Uncharted. Give me 6 is an extreme. Give me 3 Uncharted DLCs that extend something that I like about that game, whether it's in that case, it'd probably be the story or maybe a side character that you want to know more about or something like that, and extend that world. Because there's already enough games out there that you're going to have stuff to play. And I feel like adding
the market's oversaturated.
Yeah, bring in more 2s and 3s and 6s.
I'd say this year it's been pretty oversaturated. There's so many fucking games that are on a back burner for me right now. It's ridiculous. That part I do understand, I suppose.
So,
but then, you know, variety is the spice of life. So
you'll still have it because indies.
Yeah.
So that's my argument to it. So
devil's advocate motherfucker over here.
No,
so.
that's a firm belief. I really firmly believe that you should have one game per console generation.
You know, there's only one way we're going to solve this, and that is for you.
We're never going to solve it.
To comment below and side with someone. Would you prefer sequels with the occasional DLC as a taster, but actual true to life sequels within, let's say, like a 2-year span of the original game or the sequel, I guess?
Or do you want a solid foundation that you can build a high rise on?
A game that lasts 7 to 10 years for the entire lifespan of the console, purely releasing DLC. Let us know.
I would make a game like that. That's definitely what I would do for a game.
Well, I'm asking them. You had your opinion. So drop that in the comments below. I'm actually interested to see where people stand on this. Yeah,
me too.
I have no idea, but yeah.
But either you're wrong or I'm wrong, or they're gonna be like you both are wrong. There'll be like a third opinion coming in.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
By the way, here you go.
I'm okay with that.
But let's go ahead and wrap this up. We are the Level 2 Gamers. Like I said earlier, you can listen and or watch us every week on Tuesday evening if you're listening, and watch us on Wednesday, I guess technically morning, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and any other podcasting app that exists out there. There's lots of them.
Does YouTube let you just play audio for stuff?
If you have YouTube Red, yes. So I pay for YouTube Red. So we have no ads and we have audio. So like last night I was watching the NASCAR race on YouTube before I fell asleep because NASCAR can get boring and you can fall asleep to it. So we also have other shows. So tomorrow we're going to play another Let's Role play of the same game. Tom will be having a bomb strapped to his face, and I will hope he doesn't explode. I'm going to help him try not to explode. If he keeps talking, he won't explode.
So I only made you explode once in 3 bombs. So
but you also had the 3 easiest bombs. So
yeah,
but
you've played this before. So this
but not with you, other than last week.
Great.
It's a communication thing.
Yeah, well, you're going to blow me up. Lots.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it intentionally. Be like, it's a click the fifth wire. There's no fifth wire. We'll click it. Do it. And then Friday, we got Level 2 VR. We'll give you the latest news, kind of look into sales and insights into the world of VR.
And a little bit of gameplay.
And a little bit of gameplay. And then Mondays are our Let's Plays. We're currently playing Jaws Unleashed. Yeah, on PS2.
Everyone remembers the time they leashed him. You know.
I'm not even going to touch that. I had a thing to say. I decided it's best not to say it. So
Well, at least you're learning.
A little bit. But thanks again, guys, for watching. We are the Level 2 Gamers. And as always, welcome to the second level. Bye, guys.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.